Hello, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Nicky Knuckles, and you're in the ring. Thanks for tuning in this week, and we have a very special guest. He's not only one of my trainers, he's a dear friend of mine, and we have a lot in common, and that's Hershel Jacobs.
Say hello.
Welcome to the show today, Jake. Thanks for coming on. We have something in common. We have a really great trainer, Maurice Spizzato, otherwise known as Kid Sharky. He's trained you, and he's been your mentor as well as mine. Can you tell me about your relationship with Sharky, how you met him?
Geez, yeah, I met Sharky when I was about 19 years old. And actually, he was working with another guy who was living in this rooming house that I was living in Portchester at the time. And this guy used to run in the house and run out every day with the bag. So I finally got him to say what he was doing, running and grabbing this bag every day, running out. So he said, boxing. And then I said, boxing? He said, yeah. So I finally said, I want to go to the gym with you. He said, if you can use your mittens, I'll take you down. So I said, well, okay. So he took me down to the gym with him. And of course, he was fighting professionally. And I had never had a fight in my, other than neighborhood fights on the street, kind of thing. And Sharky was there as well. So I started to really put me in the ring with him. And this guy banging me around in the ring. Well, he took about 5 straight right hands and took me back against the ropes. And finally I hit him with the left, I think, or right uppercut or something, or bolo shot kind of thing, because Kid Gavilan was one of my favorite fighters, and I kind of picked up one of those punches from him. Anyway, I hit him and knocked him back across the ring, and right of a sudden they stopped. They said, hold, come out the ring. And I said, okay, come over, we'll talk to you. So they started talking to me. So they gave me the do's and don'ts about boxing and Sharky, and told me, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So, fine, good. So I just cut it at that, and from there on, Sharky was training me, working with me, talking to me, and then Sharky was my father, actually, because I was 19 years old. I just left North Carolina at 18, and I came to New York, in Portchester there, and I had no guardians thereafter. I had to be a man on my own, so to speak. And so Sharky was my father in teaching me and guiding me, and he was my teacher, and he was my trainer, and he was my friend. He was been everything to me.
As he is to me. I actually mentioned that on I had Sharky on the show not too long ago. And he's just an amazing person.
Oh, he is.
We've been so fortunate to have him in our lives.
Certainly is. Certainly is. And he's a great guy. Great guy, and no one can take that from him. And he has left his mark, the rest of my life is here, and I know a lot of other people as well, that has done that, I Cleo Daniels and,
So Sharky's dynamite. You had your first professional fight in 1960 against a guy named Larry Renaud in his hometown of Canada and Quebec.
Right. And
you lost your first pro fight. Some guys get discouraged. They pack it in. They say, this isn't for me. You didn't.
No, I didn't. Actually, it made me fight harder, made me train harder, because I felt that I beat him. Yeah. And given it that, in his hometown, that he would get the edge, or I always fought uphill. Anyway, all of my fights, whoever I did. And it just made me fight harder, and more determined to keep going, because if I'm saying to correct, and making me fight harder would make me correct the mistakes that I made, things that I didn't the first fight or whatever, made me correct it. I just had to fight harder and do do the right thing in the next fight.
Well, I know that firsthand, because you've worked with me, and I've tried to throw some punches at you in the ring, and you've been like a ghost, hard to hit. And I remember you said If a guy catches me with one punch, he catches me with the hook, he ain't catching me a second time. You got it that one time, if you got it and you earned it, but you ain't getting it again.
Yeah, you don't get it.
Now, you had a very impressive professional boxing career. You actually, and I was very upset they never mentioned this, that you beat Reuben Hurricane Carter in your second bout with him.
Yeah.
And he had 38 straight knockouts. He was undefeated.
Right.
Everybody that went up against Reuben Hurricane Carter from New Jersey got stopped in a very short amount of time. Right. And you took that fight, and he knocked you down, I believe.
Yeah.
And you got a return match against him. Yeah. And you won, unanimous, across the board. And you were the first man to do that. Tell me about that historic moment for you.
Yeah, I was able, to fight Carter. Never realizing that, that we was both going for what we was going for, to be, the best or to be the champion in the world, but never knowing that, things would get as big as it got with him before, like that. But, yeah, he dropped me in the first round. This guy could punch, man. I mean, and it was nothing to be ashamed of, because he knocked out 28, 38 other guys before me, so it was nothing to be ashamed of. But of course I didn't want that to happen to me, but it did it, and it was after. But then after that, I beat him in the return match, hands down, it was no problem in the second fight with him. But before the decision was read in the first fight, I had told Shaka, I said, I want to fight him again. So Shaka said, you want to fight him again? I said, yes. So Shaka, before they read it, Shaka went over and told him that he wanted, we wanted a return match. Yeah. So they, gave it up right there then. They said, oh, so then they announced that there would be a return match, between me and him, So, I think about a month or 2 months was after that, we had the return match, and I came out with the victory on that one, and spanked him on that one, because I was wanted to prove to myself that he couldn't knock me down again. He couldn't hit me with that shot again, because if he did it, I hadn't been in his box if I couldn't correct that mistake. Yep. So of course I did, so I was really happy to show proof that, he couldn't do this again, and I really, really beat him,
I was upset they never mentioned it when they made that movie Hurricane, regarding Reuben Hurricane Carter, and they never mentioned you, and that got to me a little bit, Jake. But before that bout with Carter, you had beat another undefeated fighter, and I believe his name was Gordon. Was that correct?
Marvin Gordon.
Marvin Gordon. And you also you were the first man. As far as Ken Norton, I'm sure a lot of people know about Ken Norton. He had 40 pounds on you.
Right.
You took the fight on a week's notice.
Right.
Which is unheard of.
Right.
And you up until that point, you were the first one to give Ken Norton a decision, as far as he had knocked out 28 straight opponents.
Right.
And nobody had a decision. Everybody went down. Right. And you were the first man to not go down as far as being knocked out by Ken Norton. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was given to me on short notice, and that was the scale to do it, because they knew they gave me time to train and prepare for the fight and everything. That there's no way Norton could have gotten by. There's no way. Even with the difference in the weight, the size of the man, and whatever, there was no way he could have got by it. They knew that. That's why they gave such short notice on the fight. Once they put you on the shelf and let you sit there and rush for a while, and then say, okay, now we got somebody that's coming up that we're trying to build up. Now here we take him down and give him a fight. Let him fight this guy, and we'll get the decision. And he'll get the decision. All he got to do is finish the fight. And he'll get the decision, and then we got somebody to say, well, okay, he beat this guy. He beat Hershel Jacobs. So that was a scale on Norton, and you know, and not only that, in other ways they would stack the ring on you. They, you know, I mean, they had a mat on the ring like 3 inches, 4 inches thick. You know, a mattress on the ring, so I call it. You know, and it was like running on sand and running on grass or blacktop.
Which is a disadvantage to a boxer that likes to move
yes,
like you,
yes.
and an advantage to a Norton
Right.
type boxer that likes to sit in place and
Right.
punch, sit down
Right.
as punches.
Right. And which would, whatever condition you had, and then having me out of shape under a week's notice as well, that was an advantage to him with that thick ring. You know, this mattress on the ring was another advantage. By the way, the same day of the fight, they drove me around all day.
Yeah.
That morning from one doctor to the other. Well, California, of course, and it was in his hometown, in his backyard, really, San Diego. And by driving me around all day, day before the fight, and they, you know, the doctors here, the one doctor's here, the heart cardiogram is another, you know, the brain waves another place, you know, and it's like, you know.
Didn't they draw blood out of you, and they broke the vial, and then they wanted more blood from you? They just were trying to drain you down every little bit they could.
Drained, and you know, and I said to the doctor, I said, gee, doctor said, I've never seen no one take a vial like this, you know, this big blood. Now I got to get this twice, he says, you know. So draw this blood out of me, and I said, man, usually, you know, you just take a little small vial of blood, and you know, and that's that, you know, 1 or 2, what have you. Then he drew the blood, and he dropped it and broke it. So now he's got to get it again. He had to take it again. I said, no, what's wrong, doctor? I said, I'm not giving it more blood. He said, oh, well, then he gave me the fatal fight. So, oh, well, go ahead, you know, you know. Now he drew a pint of blood out of me, practically.
That's crazy.
You know, and this was all during the same day of the fight. It was, you know, the fights, you know, at the evening. So when I go in the fight, I weigh 100. When it weighed me in, I weighed 173 and a half pounds. You know, I'm fighting the guy that's 220 and 210, 215 more, you know.
But you had to do what you had to do to get these fights.
Yeah, so I went ahead and took the fight. And I said, well, he ain't gonna be able to hit me anywhere, knock me out for sure, you know. So I just had to keep him from hitting me. Of course I did. And he was, you know, and I outboxed him, and you know, and just to keep going and keep him away, or keep away from him, and not let him get to me, you know. And that's what I did. You know?
But you were in exceptional shape, and if we look back at these photos I have, these are usually hanging in the gym up on Ferris Avenue, 220 Ferris Avenue, Westchester Boxing Club, and these you were in unbelievable shape, and Sharky used to make you train hard.
Oh, no doubt.
Tell me about the training regimen, a typical training regimen for you that Sharky would put you through, and besides that, another thing would be, you're not only a boxer that was a great boxer, but you also are a great trainer, and you've trained a lot of guys that have been contenders for world titles, and the list goes on and on as far as that's concerned. So you get guys in great shape because I'm sure that knowledge came from your particular training methods. Tell me about that. What would a typical week or day be?
It was some Sharky. I just know how Sharky trained me and how it worked me and what he told me about it, and I believed what he said, I believed in what he said, and I did what he said. And it proved to be panned out and work out for me. So I know if it worked out for me, from his advice, it would work out for anyone else.
Exactly.
With the same advice that he gave me, I could pass on to others. And of course, I know it would work out for them. So that's why that I have been successful with the guys that I trained and worked with and stuff and such with him. Yeah, he well, he told me, first of all, he said, well, you got to do your road work, you know. You got to do you know, your road work. And he used to watch me. He could come out and watch me in the gym, and he said, "You didn't do your road work last night, or you didn't do your road work." And I said, "No, I didn't." I couldn't lie to him because he knew that, you know, what I did. He said he could tell by the spring how my movement or whatnot, you know, when I did it. No, I didn't. And of course, I did my 5 miles of road work every day. You know, I started putting that in every day, every single day, because, as he said, you're only going to fool yourself. You're only kidding yourself. And you're not killing yourself because you're putting yourself out there. You're putting your life at risk. Your eyes, jaw, cheek, nose, you know, and all that, jawbone and all of that at risk when you're out there. Your life is such. So you got to be in good shape. You must train right if you're going to deal with boxing. You're going to be in boxing because it's only you and that man in the ring, and you got to do what it takes to protect yourself out there, you know. And that's what I did. I mean, he used to tie my hands up and put me in the ring with these guys and working out, sparring. Of course, you got headgears and stuff, but that didn't help you. So he put me on the bag, tie my hand up and my right hand up, and they say jab, 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 jab. I develop a jab. Oh, you may hate me now, but you'll love me later. You know, so it was his favorite thing. You know? Yep. So of course, I did that, and I just did what he told me, and worked it, you know, and it came out to be, you know, to do it, you know.
Now would you do a training regimen where you would run in the morning, in the evening? And I know you worked a labor-intensive job a lot of the time, so it wasn't just, you know, running and sitting behind a desk. You know, you were out there
No.
working hard labor.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the things that kind of kept me more in shape. I think I tell you, because the hard work, I was construction, you know, landscape construction worker, and that kind of work really put you in good shape, you know. And when you using a sledgehammer, or using a hammer, or a shovel, or, you know, and you're lifting all day and you're doing all these exercises, you're like exercising all day long, you know, but you're getting paid for it, so like, you know. So, yeah, that helped me out in a bit, condition-wise and strength-wise, too. And doing that the whole while that I were boxing, for the 17 years that I was boxing, I did this, you know, I worked an 8-hour day job, construction day job.
And ran 5 miles.
And still, but I'd get up in the morning. I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and do my road work, you know, and go and do my 5 miles, come back and go to work, and get a shower and go to work, come home, go to the gym for 2.5 hours, and sometimes I'd miss the bus from White Plains to Portchester. I had no car. I missed the bus, and I would jog from White Plains to Portchester, which is 7 miles, and, you know, but of course the next morning I wouldn't do the road work because I did that day, but, you know, it was that, you know. So yeah, I worked. I worked hard at it. You know.
Yeah, and you train those guys. I mean, the list is just so long. You've worked with Alex Garcia.
Right.
You've worked with Paul DeVorce, Cleo Daniels, Jeff Sims,
Right.
Doug DeWitt, who fought for a world title, actually was a world champ, WBO world champ. You've Sean Knight, Doug Gray. You've worked with amateurs as well as pros. You currently work with some Empire State Game boxers right now with Sal Corrente at Yonkers PAL.
Right.
So you've been involved in boxing. It wasn't just you did it for money. For compensation, you do it for the love of it. I mean, you work with these kids and the amateurs, and it doesn't pay anything.
Yeah, it's a gratitude, Nick, from, you know, Shockey. He gave to me, you know, and he never got back the time he put in, you know, for the time he put in with me. And of course other people and stuff, and such as yourself and stuff. He never, you know, and it's just giving back to the kids and trying to guide them and trying to teach them and, you know, discipline and let them know what, you know, it is to do the right thing instead of going doing the wrong thing. Yeah. It's, you know, so, and how you have to work at it, and if they want something, you got to work to get it, and you got to go after it with all your heart. You know, put all your time into it to get it, you know, done. And do your best, and you have no regrets thereafter. You know, you can say, well, I put it up, you know, I did my best. I did all I could do.
Yeah.
I couldn't do any more. And once you do with that, you can live with that. You can settle with that. You know, you can be all right. So, yeah, I just like working with the kids, and I like to see an improvement in the kids. You know, see a difference, and see if I can make a difference in their life.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you've worked with kids in the Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
And we had the same trainers. Charlie Caserta worked with you.
Right.
And Kid Sharkey.
Right.
Kenny Mack Sr. was one of my trainers. I know he was a trainer up there at the Cage where we met years ago, which ironically is you know, in the same place that the Westchester Boxing Club's in now up on Ferris Avenue. It was called the Cage Boxing Club.
Yeah.
And used to take kids all over the country.
Yeah.
Didn't you recently went to where was it? Ohio?
Syracuse.
Syracuse. That was it.
Yeah, with the kid right now we had we had Joe. Little Joe is a good little knockout artist there in the PAL right now, and of course Chad. We have this kid Chad who's in the Golden Gloves this year now, and he's a good fighter. As a matter of fact, he's fighting Friday, I think, the 9th at the PAL.
Yeah, Yonkers PAL Friday night. This coming Friday night, they're having the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. So.
And we were there last time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you know, and it's nice to be at the fights. It's like homecoming, because you see a lot of people you haven't seen for a while. You know, the guys, fighters, and trainers and stuff and such. You know.
Yeah.
Before you know, that you have sparred with, you know, trained with and whatnot. And they show up and they got kids, you know, you got kids, so it's kind of a good thing. You know?
Yeah, I remember we saw, who was it, a good friend of ours, Mark Breland was there at the last Golden Gloves.
Right.
And Lou Savarese. Yeah, it's great seeing these guys.
Sean Knight. You know,
Sean Knight, we had some good laughs with Sean. And it's great seeing these guys, like you said. You know, it's they still come to the amateur events and say hi. So it's really great.
Yeah, so it's just good. It's good. Very good. You know, I enjoy it. You know.
Very gratifying, I know.
I do.
Now, your what would you say in your boxing career was your toughest match?
You know what? My toughest fight, Nick, was with a fighter that was no one ever heard of. I'd say, you know, I mean, publicly, you know, nationwide kind of thing. Was a guy named Ned Johnson. You know, he was in Connecticut. Yeah, we fought up there, and you know, and it was a tough fight. It was a tough fight. You know, and I mean, the guy ate everything that I served, and then so he was still begging for more until I went to the corner, and a friend of mine, the guy in the corner there, said to me, he says, when I rinsed out and spit out, I blabbered all over him, and he said, "That's all right, baby, just spit all over me." He said, "As long as you keep doing what you're doing. If I don't keep what I'm doing, it ain't all right." You know what I mean? He's like, you know, now you're gonna have to fight me. So, anyway, that inspired me, you know, to keep doing it. You know, it must be doing the right thing. You know, so but the fight was so hard, I didn't know whether I was doing the right thing or not. You know, it was like, I don't know, this is my fur, your fur, whose fur, you know. But that was a tough fight for me. Anyway, I went back after to inspire him in that corner and stopped him in the next round. You know, so I just kept doing what I was doing, like I said, and I stopped him in the next round. So that was a very tough fight for me. You know, those other fights was challenging, but not as hard or as tough as that fight was.
Yeah.
Because I was at the point of, you know, man, you want it, I can give it to you. You know, but that really was a pickup in the corner, and that's what makes a champion sometimes. That's what makes a good fighter, because when he's at his lowest, his corner, the corner man can pick him up, can say something that will inspire him, can keep you going, you know, and make you find energy somewhere that, well, where you about to lose your confidence, you know, that he can give it back to you, you know, and saying the right thing, you know. So this guy said the right thing to me, and you know, and it was Bang Bang, by the way, that it was Bang Bang that said that to me in the corner, who I was sparring, who was a sparring partner, you know, it sparred with me all the time too, and you know, so he really inspired me to do that, you know.
I guess it comes full circle back to what we were saying about Sharky and his knowledge. You know, you've been real fortunate enough to learn from Sharky, and he's made us, from what people tell us, really great trainers. And we're still doing it, and we still love doing it, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm glad to have you on the show, Jake, and I definitely want to have you on more often. And you know, we'll talk more about you know, the amateurs and the pros and anything else you want to talk about. And if anybody out there would you know, like to write in, you can address it to Westchester Boxing Club, 220 Ferris Avenue, first floor, White Plains, New York. If you have any questions for Herschel Jacobs or for us here at the show, and maybe any comments, future guests you'd maybe like to see on the show, you're more than welcome to call 914-328-1773. And Jake, it was a pleasure having you on.
It was a pleasure.
You know, it's always good to hang out with you and talk about boxing. And you know, we've been really fortunate to have Sharky in our corner. And like Sharky always says, keep on punching.
Keep on punching.
Keep on punching. Can't afford to give up, right? You never quit.
Never
so yeah, so it's really a great thing, and I'm glad you came on, and hopefully we'll have you on another time pretty soon, right?
Okay, good.
Right, sounds good.
Certainly do.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of In the Ring. I'm your host, Nicky Knuckles, and keep on punching.